Hi everybody and welcome back to the Five Guys Pokemon League. I'm Charlie, the captain of the Toxboxers, joined by Cameron, the captain of the Die Guys. And
Yo,
yeah, we're excited to be back for another FPL battle. This week we've got, or I suppose this round, we have Trash of Primary Hands, which is Jason's team, versus the Go-Goats, led by Jules. And this should be a fun matchup. This battle. It's definitely worth noting that Jules was able to pick up Celesteela in the draft,
oh
which
yeah.
which
I
is
mean, a monster, an absolute monster.
yeah,
I
it was not expected that this thing was gonna fall to 7 where Jules is drafting, but
no, we kind of assumed it would be first or second picked. So
mhm.
making it to what was it, round 6 or round 7
I
in the
I
draft?
believe it
I mean,
was I believe it was 7 that
yeah,
Jules was able to get it at. For those of you
quite surprising.
For those of you that don't know why Celesteela is so good in a draft league, you can run any set you want on Celesteela. Normally on ladder, I think it's in UU right now, which is a reasonable spot for it to be on ladder. But the reason it's so good in a draft league is not only is its typing great, but you can run it as any set, literally any set you want. You want a physical tank, great. You want a special tank, great. You want a special sweeper, you can even run it as like a physical sweeper with like heavy slam and heat crash and moves like that. So it's just the versatility and typing and the fact that it can fill all of those roles well is what makes it so good in a league. But Jules has it, and he's been one of the better performing players in the past. So that is definitely a Pokemon to watch this season to see how it performs.
Yeah, I mean we'll have to see if he manages to squeeze the value out of it like Taylor did last season. That could be a winning pick for him if he does manage to play around it in the same regard.
Yeah, it really could be. It was Taylor's MVP last season. It could be his MVP again this season.
I would say for matchups, we're looking at some very interesting speed tiering. You brought up Infernape's comparison to Diancie, but also Durant as well. They have the same speed tier, so Diancie is going to be outspeeding those by just 2. Very, very small margin. But if we don't see a choice scarf out of one of those mons, Diancie could be a bit harder to touch than it normally is, as we don't have any options like Bullet Punch on this team to deal with that easily.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worth noting as well that Diancie gets coverage for both of those Pokemon. It gets Mystical Fire for Durant and also gets Earth Power to deal with Infernape.
Yeah, so it's not as cut and dry as it normally is with Steel type and Diancie. Normally, it gets hit once, it's pretty much dead. But it is a question in this battle of whether or not Jason's going to be hitting it. But he does have an option for that, because if you can see from his team, he has brought not only a possible Sticky Webs user in Smeargle, but one of his personal favorites in Trick Room with Mega Banat.
That is true, and it's great that you bring up Trick Room because that is one of the main dynamics of Jason's team. You don't really see it here, but he's got a lot of his low tier picks revolve around utilizing Trick Room, like Guzzlord, Rampardos. I think he's got one more. I don't remember exactly which Pokemon it is, but he utilized Trick Room a lot last season. We could see it again this game, especially like we're talking about into that Mega Diancie matchup. But Trick Room is just such a tough gimmick to prepare for, especially when you have a team like Jason's where a lot of his higher point Pokemon don't need Trick Room to function, and it becomes a question of how much do you prepare for Trick Room, because if you over prepare for it and bring all your slowest Pokemon and then all of a sudden Jason doesn't bring Trick Room, you might find yourself to be in a tough situation.
Well, and that's what I think is so intelligent about Jason's team is a lot of his value is in Pokemon that don't necessarily directly benefit from Trick Room, like that Infernape, Zapdos, but also Hoopa and Durant even, all have great damage output, but aren't reliant on Trick Room to necessarily be hitting first. So he's kind of got a nice balance where, you know, he doesn't have to bring it every battle, but you have to be thinking about it every battle.
Yeah, for sure. That's what tripped me up in my matchups against him towards the end of last season, where I over-prepared for Trick Room and ended up losing both of my regular season battles to him, actually, because of that. But
he's...
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I think he's made excellent use of that, and I'm hoping to see a similar performance out of him this season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, speaking of Jason's team, I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but a couple new faces on this team. Smeargle, it's Smeargle's first FPL season ever. No one's wanted to spend I think it's 4. No one's wanted to spend the 4 on it. And in a league where versatility is so highly valued, that's kind of surprising to me, to be honest. But it'll be interesting to see how Smeargle does this battle in this season, and Hoopa as well. I don't know if we've seen...
So I actually picked it in Season 2, and a lot of the problems that I ran into were against matchups with either Shadow Sneak or Sucker Punch.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't really do much, so what I ended up doing a lot of the times was either taking it Focus Sash or taking it Choice Scarf and just switching out against Pokemon with those options. But I think it has pretty good damage output for where it's at. I do like the pick. I just haven't found a way to work it in since then.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a monstrous special attack stat. The speed's not quite as much as you would like, maybe. Sometimes, especially into a league where speed is so highly valued. I know that everybody always talks about that 110 speed tier, how that's just so valuable to have Pokemon that can hit 350 or higher. I mean, we can see it this battle with Celesteela, or not Celesteela, sorry, Diancie. We can see this battle with Diancie, but yeah, I know Pangoro carries Sucker Punch sometimes, so that might be a set to look out for this battle. But I think a Scarfed Hoopa could definitely do some work into this team, especially if GOODRA goes down.
Yeah, for sure. I think that just about covers any of the interesting matchups, so maybe we should head right into the battle.
Sure, let's start the battle.
Alright, so we're going to see a Smeargle lead and a Rotom Heat lead, which is a little surprising for me. I thought he might have gone for Swampert, get some Stealth Rocks off, but...
Yeah, you also do tend to see that Diancie lead a lot of the time, because the immediate Mega Evolution stops your opponent from setting up any kind of hazards with that Magic Bounce, but Smeargle is able to get the webs down, which is actually huge. Now, that Clear Body is an interesting interaction right there.
Yep. And it is a Scarfed Durant.
Yep. There's the...
So you see the Diancie go down.
Yeah, but this is the flip side of that Scarf Durant, where it can't hit that Celesteela anymore.
Yep. And so we actually see Smeargle come back out, which is a bit of a surprise for me. I'm kind of curious what this is. Oh, but we don't get to see what the plan there was, because we get a flinch.
Yeah, and this Autotomized Celesteela is just so deadly. We've seen it take over so many battles in the past. And there's Jason's signature Destiny Bond
classic
set.
Destiny Bond.
Yep, but
Jules choosing not to grab the kill there and switches out.
That's interesting. Normally, Jason likes to do this thing with Vinette where he sets up Destiny Bond and then immediately clicks Trick Room the turn after. So he's able to set up Trick Room essentially for free without the threat of being damaged, because if your opponent hits the Vinette, it will die due to the Destiny Bond.
Right, and looking at this Infernape being special, I don't think it can do much to GOODRA, so we are going to see a switch. Zapdos should be able to roost up here and get some recovery off.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're probably going to be seeing either a switch or a Volt Switch here, which we do see the Volt Switch. So we have a speed investment on Zapdos for sure.
Yeah, or we could be seeing a bulky Rotom set, because I believe Zapdos is by default faster than Rotom. So it could be an uninvested Rotom, but that's the trouble of running Focus Blast right there, though.
Not sure how much it would do even if it hit. I mean, GOODRA has a massive special defense stat.
Yeah, I don't
But
know how I feel about seeing the special Infernape this battle because usually, I mean, everybody knows that GOODRA is insanely bulky with its special defense. Swamperts normally run especially defensive, so I don't know. Maybe I would have brought a physical Infernape this battle, but uh, doesn't. That's neither here nor there anymore.
and we're gonna see a flip turn out of Swampert. Lots of switches from both players, seemingly kind of poking at each other, trying to see if they can get any chip in, but it is starting to look like Jason just doesn't have the options anymore to deal with the rest of Jules' team.
Yeah, this is a team that could have really benefited from maybe putting rocks up. Just because I know GOODRA normally runs Assault Vest, so just whittling it down with Stealth Rocks could have been a valuable thing to do this battle, but...
Right, and the lack of recovery on Jules' team means that these switches would be getting very, very punished.
Ooh, that is a tough critical hit right there for Jason. That's going to be something that really cripples his Zapdos going forward.
And it's looking like we're gonna sack the Hoopa to a Draco.
Yeah, Jason...
I'm thinking Banette or Durant here could be a good switch, so we do see the Durant.
Yeah, I'm thinking Durant makes the most sense, and Jason's in a bit of a tough spot right now because while Banette has that giant physical attack stat, I think it's like 165, it doesn't normally run any offensive investment, at least not the way I run it. But that being said, that means that Durant is probably Jason's only real way of damaging this GOODRA going forward.
Right, and we do see a Zapdos sack there to try to keep as much health on the Durant as possible, which I think is a good option, but at this point, I don't really know if Durant has the damage to be able to win this. A good superpower coming out, but I do believe we're going to see either Celesteela or GOODRA again to finish this out.
Yeah, now I don't know if I agree with going for that second superpower right there. I might have switched just straight into Banette there, but it might have involved sacking Banette, so I think Jason was in a bit of a tough spot there anyway.
I do think we're going to see a Destiny Bond or a Shadow Claw to pick up this kill.
Yeah,
And
at this point,
the battle's looking over.
Yeah, Jason just has to keep clicking that Shadow Claw or, just try. Oh, well, there's, he's got some recovery and Pain Split, but... Yeah, this Meteor Beam is gonna probably seal the deal. Well,
with a miss, suddenly,
Flash Cannon kills.
Never mind. And that is gonna be the battle. Some interesting sets from Jason. I do think the one thing I disagree with was the special Infernape. Maybe if that had been physical, we could have gotten to that GOODRA without sacrificing Durant, and there might have been some maneuverability there.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it more, and maybe the reason that we did see a special Infernape was to deal more damage on Grass Knot, but if that was the case for Swampert, but if that were the case, I would have maybe liked to see it mixed instead of purely special, just because, like you said, it's a really tough matchup in the GOODRA.
Right. And, I mean... The Rotom Heat actually was able to survive a lot longer than I thought it would.
Well, Rotom Heat's really good if you can outspeed your opponent. That's where Rotom Heat really shines, because it's got a lot of bulk, but if you can, deal damage with Thunderbolt or an Overheat before your opponent can do anything, that's when Rotom gets really good. The trouble is it's just not faster than a lot of Pokemon.
Right. I think Jules definitely played around correctly, and overall it's been a pretty good battle.
Yeah, he did really well with that GOODRA, avoided any contact with that Durant, and walled when he needed to wall, KO'd when he needed to KO, and yeah, I think he did a great job.